Again, 4 hours of me this afternoon wasn't enough, so we are back again with it's the online dance watch along. We are going to see what happens in the 2025 Paddy Power World Darts Championship draw. Some of you will have it on some other screens as well. Yeah, let's be like everyone's got several screens. Keep me chatting away. Get involved in the chat room because we can find out what everybody thinks. I'm sure everybody's predictions are going to change. It does look like we've got, well, it looks like we're going to be pretty much on time, I think, because Emma is having a chat with Wayne and Webby. We've gone to a little bit of filler, so I think they're almost ready to start taking things or taking balls out the hat. Just a quick reminder, and I know there's people in the chat room already, and there's quite a few watching. Please, everyone's on a different speed. Some people will be watching it live. Some people will be watching it on a slight delay. Others will be watching it through apps. I've got Sky Sports app on my iPad. I've got YouTube on something else. They're all at slightly different times. So please, like, as soon as I've said the result, react all you want, talk about it loads in the chat room. But if we can just minimize the amount of spoilers that go in the chat room ahead, that'll be really, really helpful. Just makes it fun for everybody. Interesting, and I'm not sure who took the decision in Sky to not put Luke Humphries on the graphic. So the holding graphic that we've all been waiting for on Sky Sports Darts to go ahead had Luke Littler, Michael Van Gerwen. I don't think shocked about either of those faces on it, but a Gerwin Price image rather than the world number one and defending world champion, which many may think is a slightly odd choice. However, you know, it is what it is, and somebody else picks them. It looks like we're about ready to go. For those of you who are watching, I think Wayne Mardle has put his hand into, he's put his hand in the tub, very nice and green and on brand for Paddy Power today. But Wayne is picked out. The first ball is number 20, which is Thibaut Tricol, a Frenchman who played very well at the weekend in spells. Will play Joe Comito. Right, international qualifiers. Joe Comito from the DPA over in New Zealand. New Zealand, Australia, one of the two. Oceanic region player, Joe Comito. Number 29, Nick Kenny, is going to play number 43, Stowe Bunce. We had Anthony on from the CDC this afternoon, and the first North American representative drawn out there against Nick Kenny. Number 3, I think we're being shown there from Wayne, which is Jermaine Watamina, a player whose resurgence or his breakout last couple of months has been superb. We'll play Stefan Belmont. That's not a game that will be particularly straightforward. Stefan Belmont is qualified through the Western European qualifier. Swiss player Stefan, good hand. 11 is the draw that Wayne Mardle gives us. Wesley Placia plays number 42. Oh, come on. Ryusei Azamuto. We'll go with that. I don't know. I've probably stumbled over that one at some point. Ryusei Azamuto, PDC Asian Tour qualifier. Alan Suter is out. Next is the next pick, who will play Kai Gotthard. That is a difficult game, and neither of them will be over the moon about that one. Alan Suter plays Kai Gotthard in the opening round. Number 9 is the next pick out. Number 9 is Madas Razma. Madas Razma will play number 35, which is Christian Kist. Another tough game. Again, either player I think will be happy with that draw. That's a tough opening round game. Number 21 is the next one we see, which is Connor Scott, friend of the show. Been superb darts played from Connor lately. Will play at number 54, which is Big Ben Robb. That is I mean, that game could have been seen elsewhere, to be honest. It's unusual that we will see that game on the Ali Pally stage. Next one out is number 5, Luke Woodhouse, who will play number 48, Lawrence Ilagan. Some really interesting games. Woodhouse and Ilagan is a game I will be looking forward to watching. That'll be an entertaining game. Next one, Mr. Martle, please, is number 27, Ryan Meikle. We saw some great things from Ryan at the weekend, knocking out that big upset of Gary Anderson, the Players' Championship Finals. We'll play Fallon Sherrock. Ryan Meikle will play Fallon Sherrock. So we won't have the Menzies Sherrock opening round that many were hoping for. Number 23 is the next ball pulled out, which is Ian White. Again, another man who's wound back the clock a little bit of recent times. We'll play Sandro Eric Sossing. Ian White more than likely will be the favourite in that one. Next ball out is number 6, Ryan Joyce. Time for the Geordies to find out who Ryan Joyce is going to beat, which is number 39, which is Darius Labanauskas. That's who Ryan Joyce is going to beat in the opening round. Next one out, number 22, Mencio Suljevic will play number 64, Matt Campbell. That's not nice for either player. Matt Campbell qualified this afternoon, played some brilliant darts, came through that shootout with Mervyn King to book his place in the final. Next number out, number 15, Scott Williams, semi-finalist last year. Another player who's just recapturing some of that form that... Oh, Nico Springer against Scott Williams. Next one, please, Wayne. Number 4, Ricardo Petresco will play 60. So Pikachu will play Zhaochen Zong. Some superb darts we've seen from him over the last year in the Asian Premier League. Next ball is number 1, Cameron Menzies. Cameron Menzies will play number 46, Leonard Gates. Oh, that's a game that I think we can all enjoy getting excited for. That's a watch. 2 entertaining players with big stage presences. Number 12 is the next one, which is Martin Lukman. Absolutely superb form lately for Martin Lukman. Will play Nitin Kumar. Martin Lukman is going to play the Indian qualifier, Nitin Kumar. Next number out, number 13, Kevin Dukes. Kevin Dukes will meet Nolan van Leuven in the opening round. So it will be an all Dutch affair as Dukes meets van Leuven. Number 14, Wayne gives us now, which is Richard Veenstra. He will play number 58, Alexis Toilo. Again, a player who we haven't seen a lot of in this part of the world, but certainly capable of coming and throwing something interesting and causing an upset. Stephen Burton is the next player out. He will play number 41, Alexander Merckx. Making rapid progress. We're absolutely flying through this. Number 18, Wayne Martle gives us Karel Sedlacek. Mr. Webster obliges with number 61, Rhys Griffin, another one of this afternoon's qualifiers. Beat Adam Hunt in the final of that qualification event this afternoon. Next, we have number 31, Mickey Mansell, another player who has found form of late and will be very confident going into Ali Pali. Will he be confident against Tomoya Goto? That is an interesting game. Only at the Palace will you see Mickey Mansell against Goto. We are very excited for that already. Number 26, Florian Hempel against number 62, Jeffrey Deswan. Another one of this afternoon's qualifiers. Jeffrey played some great darts this afternoon. He really earned that spot in the final. Next start out is number 16, Kim Hybrechts, who will play Keen Barry. That's an intro. I like that one. I like the look of Kim Hybrechts and Keen Barry. I'm not getting a great deal of chance to talk to you all about any of these games because every time I go to have a chat about something, Wayne Mardle lifts another ball up, and he's done it again with number 2, Wessel Nyman. A lot of people's tip to do quite well in the Worlds this year, Wessel Nyman, but will he get past Cameron Carolison, which he probably, well, if you're a betting man, you've got to back Nyman in that opening round. There's not too many balls left now. There's not too many spaces on that rack for them to go on when they come out. Next one out is number 30. Number 30, James Hurrell, will play number 51, Jim Long. That is a tough game for both players, I think, that one. Very tough game. Number 28, Chris Landman, plays number 50, Lock Yin Lee. Okay, another Asian qualifier. Very interesting to see what those guys can come and do on stage. 24, Jeffrey de Graaf will play number 57, Rashad Sweeting. See what it is, Rapido, this. They are absolutely getting through this. Number 25 is the next one out. Jim Williams, representing Wales, will play number 53, Pablo Nebreda. I quite like that game. Asian Tour qualifier again from the Philippines, Pablo Nebreda. That could be a nice match, that, with Jim Williams. Number 32 is next. Ricky Evans, only just Ricky Evans, just making it to the World Championships. Will play number 52, Gordon Mathers. Ricky Evans will play Gordon Mathers in the opening round. Gordon Mathers, another Oceanic region qualifier, come through the Masters there. Neil Zonneveld will play number 33, Robert Owen, another man who only just managed to get over the line and qualify in that very, very last spot. Welshman Robert Owen. Next one out, number 17, William O'Connor, will play number 43, Dylan Slevin. Oh, it's an all-Irish affair. Dylan Slevin, that's the 4th player who came through the qualifiers this afternoon. Now to come out into the draw. Callan Ridge, number 10, next. Very important one for those of us in the Northeast to find out who Callan Ridge is going to play. He'll play Romeo. I know you always get one like that, don't I? I can't say that. Garach? Lost it. And that, I think that's the last one. I can't really hear because I've got no score. And now I've got no graphics either because I'm riding solo a little bit on this one and I haven't got a bracket to show you. However, ladies and gentlemen, I am absolutely certain that by the time you all come back and join us at 8 o'clock this evening for the live lounge, we'll have some graphics. And we'll also know, I know that there are a few little bits of news coming out of that because what you have to, or what we now know is that those first round matches, those prelims, they then set up games against a seed. And there are some absolute crackers as I have a quick look on that. The one that everyone is going to run to straight away is to find out that we could potentially have a second round match between Fallon Sherrick and Luke Littler that might actually break the internet if that happens. I think everybody's internet might go down at that point. But there's a little couple of highlights that I just want to draw your attention to. But before I do, I think if I have a little click around here, I think I might just be able to click 2 buttons. And welcome back, Anthony, who joined me for this afternoon for the World's Qualifiers. And I know you've been on with a few bits and pieces in between, but I just thought before we, and we haven't got some graphics on the screen at the minute, but we'll get some for the live lounge later on. But I just wanted to bring your attention to a couple of standout games, I think. Now, probably worth mentioning again, that one between potential game that we might see Fallon Sherrick against Luke Littler. And that would be a bit of an internet breaker, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And thanks for bringing me in, Dan. Sorry I missed the most of the proper draw. I was in a meeting trying to get funding for 2025. So we're working hard behind the scenes to
much more important that. Much
right?
more important.
So I had the screen on and watching it, but it was on silent. So they didn't put on screen the seeds that they were playing. So I was able to track a lot of the draw itself. Oh, see, all right. So I see Hurl and Long goes into Van Gerwen. Those are the things that I need to get caught up on. I have our North American players out, and so to your point, I want to now take a real digest on those interesting next round, so we could get Fallon Littler. Like that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, there's a few that I just think are particularly interesting to pay attention to on that. Is we've got the Ryan Meikle and Fallon Sherrick. The winner of Ryan Meikle and Fallon Sherrick will play Luke Littler, which I think that is a particularly interesting one. Matt Campbell, we are look at the North American guys. We can look at them. Matt Campbell against Mencia Suljovic, I think, is a tough game for both players.
Agreed.
The winner of that plays Ryan Searle, which is another tough game for everyone. That section is tight.
I was waiting for the good folks at Wikipedia to get caught up, and Wikipedia just got filled in. So God bless those folks, whoever's working on that. So that gives us a good picture. So there you go.
Yeah, I think that there's one on the screen there, and again, I'm not going to go through every single one.
No, but just sort of highlights, because you boys nobody miss it there. I think 3 o'clock Eastern, the boys get kicked off online darts for tonight's live lounge.
Damon Heta against Connor Scott or Ben Robb is really interesting, because if it's Damon Heta and Ben Robb, that's great, because we have an oceanic clash, and we've talked a lot about the state of oceanic darts in recent times, and if we can see an all oceanic clash in the second round of the World Championships, I think that's a positive. That's something to think about. That's a good. But again, Connor Scott versus Damon Heta, if that's the match we get, that could be that could be a phenomenal match. The levels that those two could both reach between them, I think could be absolutely superb. Rolling down, I think that's section 2 of the draw there. I know we've already touched on Littler and Sherrick. We've touched on Campbell, Searle, and Suljovic, that little set. But
Van Veen Pietrezco, I'd like to see that.
And Zong as well. Zong's a player that, and you know as good as anyone that some of these international tour players from the affiliated tours are dangerous. They can come here, and if they find their A game, they can do a job on anyone.
Spot on, Dan. Exactly. It's not about ability, but most of the players that are being sent to the World Championship have the ability, or they wouldn't have earned that spot to begin with. It's performance. It's dealing with the lights and the scope of the event, and if they can bring the A game to the Aki.
Yeah, 100%. There's an interesting one on where Rob Cross is, because, of course, Rob, Chris, and Scott Williams are. Should we go with the term stable mates? They're not teammates. They're two players that they have a close relationship. They practice together. They are in the same. They are under the same management team. I think the last one we really to highlight before we move on there. It's got to be number 12, the 12 seed Nathan Aspinall, because we've seen a mixed bag from Nathan, but we know what he's capable of. Exactly the same from Cam Menzies. We see a mixed bag from him, but his A game is so high. And Leonard Gates is a real wild card in that mix, isn't he? It's a brilliant.
Absolutely. You can see, and Aspinall looked pretty decent this past weekend, I think, knocking out your boy Doby. Didn't they have a first round clash? So looked a little more impressive to your point about his form. And we know, I think any of those three, you wouldn't be shocked if they put a couple of W's underneath their belt if everything clicked for them.
Yeah, I think section 3 is probably less so, and some of them are interesting, but I think one of the things that makes this a bit of a strange one is many of the seeds within this section are not at their best. You know, Michael Smith, we know, is far from his best. Likewise, probably I'd say Cullen, Price.
Cullen jumped out at me to be, as we talked about, as everybody's talked about the last couple of weeks, Nyman's performance in the Grand Slam, like he's looking to get a W. He worked so hard and played so well at the Grand Slam without getting results that, you know, he's going to come in determined to get a W. So he's got to obviously get through that first one. But if I was Cullen, I'd be on my P's and Q's to what kind of a players I'm going to see in round 2.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, there's a couple of tight sections in there. I think Gurney, Hempel, Diswan, we could see some good games in there. We could see some stinkers. I think Clayton, Mansell, Goto, again, we could see some interesting games. What I do think, and I'm going to say this early, it's not that one. I think Dobie bashes everybody up in that section. If he can play his A game, Smith's a mile away from his form, as is Price. I think there's a real opportunity there for Dobie to play his way through that section. I think it's there for the taking because there's just so much form that's not where it should be in that section. But by the same token, I think you could see some totally wild and mad, and we could see another run from a Mickey Mansell. We could see Wessel Nyman do some serious damage in that section as well.
Rock Sedlicek and Griffin coming through today's qualifier. That's an interesting group. Rock,
yeah.
You know, Rock could take care of him easily, or all of a sudden stub his toe and be out with. And you wouldn't be shocked if Sedlicek gets through that little group too.
No, absolutely not. And I suppose just wrapping up the highlights. Highlights from section 4. Again, I think that it's banana skins, isn't it? But I'm relatively comfortable, and with the greatest respect to
absolutely
Jim and James, you would expect Michael to move relatively comfortably through that section of the draw, as you would with Gary Anderson.
Exactly. That jumped out at me as well, with respect. And just to give everybody, Sweeting is coming out of the CDLC, out of the Central America venture that we do, the Central and Caribbean. So just to give you a nod on who that player is. But I agree. Outside of a shocker, you see Gary Anderson coming out of that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there we got Gabe Clemens, and, you know, in terms of, you know, seeds that might not have it all his own way, you know, Niels Oliphant has found great darts in spells. You know, he's been superb in individual games, or for a couple of games in a row lately. I think that next one down, where Dimitri van den Berg's been tied up with Willie O'Connor and Dylan Slevin, again, Dimitri could blow them away, or either one of them could do him. I think it's a really interesting section. Ricky Evans against Dave Chisnell is a potential really fun game, let's be honest. And again, greatest of respect to God Mathers, but if Ricky comes through that prelim game and sets up Dave Chisnell against Ricky Evans, there will be a lot of people thinking that's the game I'm going to make sure that I see today.
And Schindler jumps out at me too in that. I think you take that last 4 matches, that little mini section there, I can see Martin Schindler getting his feet underneath him and taking, you know, coming out of that whole little section to meet either Van Gerwen or Anderson.
Yeah, just popping back down again, I glossed over it a little bit, but that boy, it's worth noting, Robert Owen, obviously a very late entry due to Dom Taylor's removal from that event. Robert Owen coming in, and whilst Zonnevel's played well, and Clemens is a former semi-finalist in this event, let's not forget, he's way off the form that took him there. And you know, Robert Owen could find himself potentially coming from not being in this competition at all to having some, you know, he could be very competitive in his first couple of games. He could go on a bit of a run.
Absolutely. So from just to give you, I know it's not the only focus, but, you know, it is my neck of the woods.
No, exactly. I want to hear exactly what
you know, the
think
early
of the
word is, you know, overall happy with the draw. That's what, you know, when I see my messages come through, you know, with Gates certainly being the toughest. You've got Campbell getting Sulovich, Bunce playing Kenny, Long playing Hurl, and Gates playing Menzies. So I think the toughest of those four is Gates. Now it's the World Championships. Of course, there's no easy matches. Everything needs to be earned. But I think some North Americans are in decent spots if they come play their game. Now that, of course, is round one. Round two will be a different story. If they do have good performances, they're now meeting, as you laid out, some tougher competitors. You got Barney and MVG, and I forget you laid out a few others. So just as a quick point of order, you know, we've got some potentials here for North Americans to give us a couple of W's.
Yeah, and again, you know, we without going over that, we've spoke before about that's really where, and it's not just North America; it's all of the affiliated tours that get players to the World Championships. Is that what I think all of them need, or what they would all benefit from, is a player going on a deep run, or a couple of players getting a few wins in. Because again, in any country where they've got someone doing particularly well at a sport, more people watch it when they don't. You know, somebody does particularly well in the skeleton at the Winter Olympics, and I find myself watching it if they're competing for Great Britain.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, I know more about that sport than I used to do, and that's what you need from people in darts. You need someone to go and win 3-4 games, so that more people in North America decide that they'll even just watch it on YouTube or find out more about it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It gets you a little more press, and people are more apt to tune in if somebody from their nation is involved. Absolutely. So yeah, that's absolutely the underlying desire of all of us as affiliates. So boy, oh boy, what a fun day today has been. Love the draw. I can't wait to go get caught up on it for a few minutes. Like we talked about earlier today, really watch how things are going to breathe and move into the later rounds. And then, of course, the next big thing to watch out for is the schedule. And PDC is usually pretty on top of things. I would imagine we would get that by Wednesday-ish. So that's the next exciting part, is to see who and where your favorite players are scheduled. And, you know, boy, I'm going to have to make that, or I'm going to have to come up sick that day.
Yeah, it's like working out when I need to be working from home to see what.
Yes, we're going to work from home.
Very exciting time. For those in the chat room, again, thanks for getting involved. We haven't done too much in the chat this simply because we thought we'll get on and off half an hour. We've got lots of opportunity over the next few weeks to go through this draw in granular detail, so we don't need to go into too much now. We've got, let's not forget, the launch of Online Darts' coverage of the Paddy Power World Darts Championship in a couple of weeks' time, the 9th of December at the Prince of Wales in Ilkeston for the live lounge live. I will be back this evening along with a couple of other members of the team. I'm not sure who yet, but we'll be back on this evening for our standard Monday night live lounge, where we'll talk about all the events of the weekend, and I am certain that draw in a little bit more detail. Again, thanks to everyone that's come back in this afternoon to watch, and everyone that stayed with Anthony and I this afternoon. We've had a great afternoon finding out who was going to be in the draw and then seeing the draw itself. So thank you very much, folks. I will see you again at 8 o'clock. Anthony, again, it's a great pleasure to have you on board. Thank you very much for your contributions today.
Cheers.
Bye, folks.